Yo, what's going on, everybody? Once again, this is Mr. Span, and this is Life as I See It here on Span TV. Thank you for checking me out yet again, and this is part two of my response to Sinclair, who wants to know what side I'm on and what do I really believe. You know, whose side are you on, Span? So I'm basically laying this stuff out, man. And I ended my last video where we were talking about the personal religious beliefs of Jay-Z, and I basically put it out there that no one really knows what his personal religious beliefs are. We can speculate all day long, and no matter what we see on the internet, no matter what we see on these videos, these blogs or whatever, no one really and truly knows that except for the people who are around him. We don't know, and I find it disheartening that so many Christians find it safe for them to make that judgment upon him that he's going to hell and that he's a devil worshiper or whatever. And even go so far as to extend that to Freemasons and say that Freemasons can't be Christians and the Freemasons worship the devil, yada yada yada. But like at the end of that, towards the end of his video, he made he actually put up a straw man argument because he said that I said that. He actually said that I quote. He tried to call himself quoting me or saying that I inferred that Freemasons. What does Freemasonry has to do with the White House? I never once said anything about what Freemasonry has to do with the White House. I never questioned that. That's never come out of my mouth. I know that 14 U.S. presidents, yes, just 14 U.S. presidents were Freemasons. That's not a topic for dispute. That's a fact that 14 U.S. presidents have been Freemasons. So I've never once said anything about Freemasons not having anything whatsoever to do with the White House. I know that. I'm very learned in this history here. He put up a picture of a flyer for an inaugural ball for President Barack Obama, and it was a Masonic ball that was thrown in honor of President Barack Obama. Now, what he probably doesn't know or isn't aware of is that wasn't a ball that President Obama attended. It wasn't one of the 10 official balls of the inauguration. He didn't go to that ball. That was a ball that was thrown in Washington, D.C., along with the 20 or 30 or so others that were also going on in honor of Barack Obama becoming the 44th or 45th president of the United States. So that flyer alone doesn't prove that Barack Obama is a Freemason, because he's not a Freemason. He's not. And then he tries to, link the all-seeing eye with someone making a t-shirt that says the all-seeing eye is the eye of Lucifer, as if it's obvious that he hasn't studied this stuff, man. He's just looking at stuff on the internet. Like, the all-seeing eye in the pyramid at one point was a symbol for the Christian Trinity. The eye representing God, the triangle representing the Trinity of God, Father, and the Holy Spirit. This is why you can go to some churches and find the all-seeing eye in the pyramid engraved in the church buildings on the outside, because that's what that represented. So because you go to someone else and they actually take the Eye of Horus, because that's what he went to the Church of Satan, the Eye of Horus, and then the Church of Satan now takes the Eye of Horus, and now that makes it a devil worship. No, you have to understand where these symbols come from and what they represented. Anybody can adopt a symbol. Freemasonry adopted a lot of the symbols that it got from actual Freemasons, people that were builders. The whole fraternity is built around its symbology is built around actual stone masons who built things. It borrows from that. So you have to learn what this stuff is, man. These are the elementary topics, man. But when I talk about the lynch mob mentality that so many Christians seem to have been they worked themselves up into this frenzy about whether or not Jay-Z is a Freemason and this is of the devil and all of these things, man. And I think about the story of the adulteress in John chapter 8, where the Pharisees brought this woman to Christ after they caught her in the act of committing adultery, and Christ, basically told them to, if you want to stone this woman, he who is without sin cast the first stone. And no one could. They were all convicted in their conscience because they knew that they too were guilty of something that they didn't get stoned for, that no one else knew about. But they were being very hypocritical in trying to put this woman out to be stoned. Now, am I comparing Jay-Z to this adulteress? No. I'm comparing some of the Christians that are trying to condemn Jay-Z to the Pharisees that wanted to stone that woman. Because that's the attitude that a lot of you have taken on. And it's funny how so many of you think that because there are more of you that believe that it somehow means that that's the truth. When in all actuality, there was a time where people believed that the world was flat. We know that not to be true now, don't we? President Bush was elected or selected to be president in 2000, but more people voted for Al Gore. Al Gore didn't become president behind that, did he? There's a lot of things. Just because more people believe in a certain thing doesn't necessarily make that the truth. The truth is the truth regardless to how many people believe it or not. Truth stands on its own, not by how many people believe in it. But getting back into this whole thing about the Forerunner 777, and I also mentioned G. Craig Lewis because he's a really big part of this, is the fact that these men go along and they tell people that they are divinely inspired, and this is the message that was laid upon their heart by Christ, and that G. Craig Lewis has even gone so far as to say it was prophetic, but the only thing I did was challenge what they said. And what I did by challenging them was I pretty much gave you proof of some of the things that they say that were flat out wrong. And if you're going to be calling yourself a messenger of God, if God put this on your heart to say, then I don't believe my God to tell anybody to say anything that was wrong. You can't say anything that I've said in these videos aren't based on fact. None of it. You can't say that anything I've said in this video aren't based on fact. What I did with Forerunner and what I did with G. Craig Lewis was that I put the facts in front of people. Even though they have so much that they are wrong about. I didn't go into all of the things that they are wrong about. I gave you quite a few, just a few tidbits of what they were wrong about. I could do a whole series on what they were wrong about. But that's not what I'm here to do. If you can't handle someone having the audacity to do what we were called to do as Christians, meaning I am to question those calling themselves men of God and Christ and prophets of God, messengers of God, I am to question that. I am to test them. We have been told to do that. You can come at me all you want. But I know where I stand. I know what truth is in whatever message. I know what the truth is in what I'm talking about. Many of you are going off of third person perspective, third person interpretation, and running with it. You have to investigate these things that they say. Read books. Not only do I read, books that that are pro Freemasonry, but I'll read books that are against Freemasonry. Like these books aren't exactly pro Freemasonic books. Freemasonry, character claims and practical workings of Freemasonry. These books aren't exactly pro Masonic books. Freemasonry, Ancient Egypt, and the Islamic Destiny. These aren't pro Masonic books. But many of you are afraid to learn what something is, and you try to cloak it under the guise of you being holy. You can't hide your being ignorant and willfully so under the guise of being holy and having the Holy Spirit. I find offense in that you would blame the Holy Spirit for you being willfully ignorant to a lot of these things. I find that offensive. So, man, like I said, you really should do a lot more study. both sides of an issue, because you are practicing what has been called confirmation bias, and it's pretty much where you give all the credence in the world to the the items that confirm what you already believe, and you give very little credence to the evidence that's contrary to what you believe. Me being in a position to where I am actually a Freemason, I can speak with some type of authority because I'm actually doing it. I've actually been in that lodge room. I know what's going on in there. I'm a Christian. I know what my Christian faith calls for me to do. I'm not going to put out anything untruthful. That's not in me. You can check everything I said. You can check everything I've put out. You can check everything I've said. I also find it funny that have you guys ever noticed that you guys have free reign to say whatever it is that you want on my videos, and I can stand by myself more often than not and talk to each and every last one of you and go over the same questions time and time and time and time again, and let it be as it is. I mean, I get hit with hate mail all the time, but I respond, and I'll allow you to, say what it is that you will. You won't get that type of freedom on the Forerunner 777 video, and you know it. Everybody yes man's Forerunner 777 on his video. No one stands in opposition to Forerunner 777 in his videos. You've seen the comments. Have you ever seen a comment reach the light of day where somebody actually challenges what he says? You have it. And not only that, man, this whole thing, like I said, man, the guys are making money off of not only bearing false witness against someone else, but they are guilty of some of the same things that they accuse Jay-Z of. G. Craig Lewis goes out from church to church, from community center to community center, and he's spreading his message. He also has a whole bunch of DVDs to go right along with him to sell, sometimes in the church. Same thing with Forerunner 777. Jesus overturned the tables of the merchants and the money changers in the temple, right? But you gonna come at me? Come on, man. I did what a Christian was supposed to do, and that was to test the spirits that are calling themselves men of God. Just because someone says they are a man of God doesn't necessarily mean that they are. And as a Christian, we are to test them. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't discredit him. I put out what he said. And I basically laid it out plain. This is what he said. This is what it is. I know because this is what I do. So, yeah, man. Read a lot, man. Pick up some books, man. Like, if you want, hell, I might let you borrow some. I got plenty of them here, man. Pick up some books, man. Read. Do something. But if you're gonna come at me, know what you're talking about. That's all I ask. Know what you're talking about when you come at me. And that's all I'm gonna say. Peace.